I already admitted that I'm not the greatest with slides, and so, which is why Mike couldn't figure out what the title of my speech was. But right here we got the 4 key components of wildly successful advertising campaigns. And the 4 things that matter most, in my experience, have been analytics, algorithm, messaging, and testing. Now, most businesses, when they're trying to do advertising, they typically don't spend enough time on the bottom 2, messaging and testing, right? And so with the testing, this happens often, and Bradford can vouch for this. So what marketing is not is like a magic pill where you just kind of go like, here, I'm going to give you money, and then you just build my business. Because if you could do that automatically, why would I give that to everyone else? I would just do it, right? And so when it comes to the marketing, you have to be willing to test often, okay? And when I say often, I'm talking the more tests, the better. And you want to do it in a scientific way, right? So an example would be, actually, let me go back. So with the analytics, the parts that you want to know in your test, because you're measuring your analytics with your testing and your messaging, is the following. So first, you need to know lifetime value of a customer. What is that actual customer worth to you lifetime, right? And if you're just starting out, use a projection or use your competitors. The next thing is the average order value, which is what are they paying you today, which will help finance you for the future, right? So that you don't go upside down in your cash flow and investment. The third is conversion rate, which is how many people does it take to get to your website to take the action that you want them to take, okay? The fourth is cost per acquisition, which is how much does it cost you to acquire that customer. The fifth is click-through rates, which will tell you what percentage of people are actually clicking on your ads, and you usually use that as a gauge to know how effective your messaging actually is. And then 6, return on ad spend or return on your advertising, which is measuring how much you're investing and what you're getting back. Now, most business owners don't know any of these numbers, and they don't track any of them, right? And so then what ends up happening is they run marketing campaigns. As they run these marketing campaigns, they don't know, am I doing good? Am I making improvements? They don't know what's going on, right? And so if you want to actually get great results with your marketing, you actually want to start here with the analytics part of knowing all the numbers. Does that make sense? So next, here's just a quick dashboard of a couple tests that we've done and how in-depth you kind of want to just track what you're doing. So see, I think you said a laser's here. Okay. So you could see here, like in this campaign, 255,000 impressions, 2,000 spent, 11,000 in conversions, 194 purchases with a 5 return on ad spend. Now, when you run a campaign like that, knowing these numbers is what's going to help you invest more and to keep growing. But when people are running these campaigns, they're not actually looking at this, right? So they're just blindly throwing money out and just basing it off of feel versus math. All right, so another couple of examples here. So we've got, and these are separate campaigns with the amount of impressions. And then we've got amount spent and then purchase conversion values. Now, all of these tie into the algorithm. Okay, so a lot of you guys may or may not know, but when you're running ads, you know Facebook, Google, and all that, they're with iOS 14 changes and privacy concerns and all that. You can still, they've taken a lot of the tracking away of what you're getting on your returns, but you can still manually upload all of your transactions and actually get this data, right? And it could feed back into your ad account, teach the algorithm who to show your ads to so that you get compounding results and your results get better and better. Okay, is this all making sense? Yes?
Okay, so I totally understand the reach, impressions, amounts spent. What calculates the purchase's conversion value?
The data, great question. So that's what I was actually talking about is, so for example, let's say you're a service business, right? You connect your CRM to the back end of Facebook or Google.
So you would have to get more data from me to be like, hey, this client is worth this much.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
With
Yes.
Google, it's 1,000. You need 1,000 conversions for it to track ROAS.
Okay.
Yep. And so what you want to do is you want to consistently upload this data back into your ad accounts.
And
What,
define ROAS, return on ad spend. Not everybody's familiar with that term.
oh, so yeah, sorry. So return on ad spend, which is like this number right here, basically represents for every dollar you put in, you got $5.17 back.
And Greg, that's it, just to throw out, and tell me if this is not true from what you know. I've found in business, the two biggest numbers that really matter to me is what I'm spending and what I'm getting in sales.
Yep.
But it's all the numbers in between that are telling you a story.
Correct.
You can see the breakdown of, ooh, that's way lower than it should be, so we got to work on that landing page message, right?
Correct.
If you're looking for the breakdown of what is a lot less of a return, or what's what we're looking for, conversion, than
Yep.
it should be, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. So you're taking all of this information to help build out your, what's broken or what's not working. You mind if I grab some water?
There's 3 layers to that, though. You have your bidding strategy within Google, so whatever that means. If you're wanting an impression, a view,
Right.
a form fill, and then
What
you
your
have
goal is.
then you have phrase exact and broad match, which is and then you have your demographic targeting for your audience.
Right.
And that's what's going to play a role in determining those 5 numbers.
Yep.
Yes.
So are you looking at each campaign individually and breaking it down, or are you looking at like the marketing efficiency ratio?
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at each campaign and the marketing efficiency ratio. And you're basically constantly like, it'll never be 100% accurate, right? Like, so it's not going to get every single conversion or every single offline event. So that's why you always match what Google or Facebook says with what's in your bank account.
Like, talk about two different animals.
Yep.
Facebook, we're not, broad match modifier, like, you're not, sorry, Google's doing that, but Facebook's a completely different
Exactly.
kind of targeting, right?
Yeah, it's
throw a letter against the wall in a sense.
It's awareness based.
Yep.
It's not intent based.
It's not a search for something, which, yeah, they both have their roles, right? And,
Yep.
But
Yep.
the bottom line is the numbers. I agree with you. Most business owners really have no clue what the
Yeah.
numbers really are.
Yeah, they really don't. So they're going in blind, and then when you go, how much do you want to spend? Well, I don't know. And many people have said this. Well, if I put $1 in, I get $2 back, then I'll do it all day. But they don't even know what they're getting now to even put $1 more in. And many times I've seen businesses like stop their momentum because they're basing it off of feeling. They feel like something's not working versus what's actually happening, the data it's telling you. So this is why I rely heavily on the numbers.
Okay, so you do my marketing.
Yes.
And I don't know that we even have a CRM or that we've generated any business through our leads.
Yep.
So then you would be able to calculate the purchase conversion or tell me we need to
Correct.
use more money or,
Well, at the moment, we're currently not using conversion campaigns, which is actually an objective that we would use for this. And so once we start running conversion campaigns, then we can start uploading your data. So yes, and I probably skipped the step. So these numbers here are based off of the objective that you're using. So you're telling the platform, I want sales, or I want leads, or I want this or that. Make sense? So next, so here's when it comes to like testing, right? So these are just 2 random ads for a client that we've been working with. And this is in the e-com space. Now, I actually have quite a good amount of clients that are African-American women that sell off of Shopify stores, which they came from during the COVID-19. Everyone was trying to sell stuff online, and they saw my ads, and they came aboard. But with this right here, so the messaging, this one says brown and bougie, right? So they're going after the hip African-American woman. This one says to-do list, build an empire, leave a legacy. So we've tested, you can see the engagement here, 10,000 versus 84, and then what people are saying, the shares, and what's going on here. Now, the key number that matters the most to any business at the end of the day is this. So this ad was getting an $18 cost per purchase versus this one was $89.65. And the reason for that is the messaging is targeting, like it's resonating more with one audience versus the other, which is why you want to invest so much time testing and what your actual messaging is. And that's where, later on I'm going to actually show you how to figure this out, right? So the next is, this is my best performing YouTube ad right here. And I showed Mike this. I don't know, can you actually play this?
Can you play it? Just hit the next button. The next button.
Okay.
Hold on. We'll get the, gotta hear it. Gotta get the
Take my water up to the front while we're doing this. You don't mind if I keep my water right there, right? All right, what do I do? Hit next. It's me, Greg Marshall. If you're a company or an entrepreneur looking to delegate the task of running your own ads on Google, Facebook, or Instagram, I can help you out. I've worked with t-shirt brands to high-end jewelry, real estate, attorneys, physicians, you name it, I've probably worked with them. And I've worked with influencers. I've had anywhere from 100,000 followers to 1 million plus followers. I've helped clients go from as low as $300 a month to selling $500,000 in sales on their store in just 12 months. I've helped clients go from $10,000 a month to $300,000 in sales per month. And I've helped clients that maybe were just mid-tier, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and they just wanted to get up to $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, or $30,000 a month. If you're interested, click the link, book a free call. In the call, I'll actually go in depth on who you should be targeting. I'll audit your ad account, and I'll make sure that you could actually take actionable steps whether you decide to work with me or not.
Greg is very gifted in his ability to read a market.
He is a straight up wizard when it comes to marketing.
Holy smokes, you guys, he is incredible. He knows how to target and how to dig deep into bringing out what is important in my business and what's important for my customers.
What he has taught me has been invaluable in my business. And I've had campaigns with him where literally spent $1 and got $300 in return. He definitely over-delivers on time and attention and care.
He's just a great guy. I highly recommend him.
Not only is he fantastic with marketing, he excels with social media platforms as well as branding. But most importantly, Greg is just an all-around great individual and incredible person.
Go ahead and click the link, book a free strategy session call, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, so say it again. Yeah, so right here, this particular video with YouTube ads got 95,000, which is, and that's very targeted, 95,000. And then I also use that, I downloaded and used it on Facebook and Instagram as well, and different clips. So it probably, like, if you combine it all, probably 400,000, right? And well, thank you. I didn't make the video. I directed the video, but I didn't make it. But I show you that video for a very specific reason, because when you're building out your messaging, that was a very well thought out video, and I showed everything in that video on purpose in that order. Okay, so right here you have your ad structure. There's an ad structure that we're going after, which is an ad hook, which identifies the audience, right? So in the very first line it says, attention business owners and entrepreneurs. I'm Greg, blah, 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 right? And then we have proof in there. So you noticed I showed screenshots of what I'm actually doing that then demonstrates that I know what I'm doing, right? So they know, oh, this guy does ads. Then we show visuals, which is numbers. There's a lot of business, because understanding the psychology of a business owner, most of them just want to know, especially if they're hiring you for marketing, how much money are you going to make me? Right? So I'm answering that question. How much money are you going to make me? Then we have testimonials. So I have another version of that video that shows Hispanics and African Americans in the testimonial as well. And the reason I have the testimonials is to show them social proof, other people, that they're actually talking, not like they're reading something on a website that anyone can put. Exactly. Which is why, and as funny as that sounds, that's exactly what I do with the ads, right? So if I'm trying to attract a certain group, I will swap out who's in there.
Yeah. And that's a key point, as mentioned, on your website, your landing page, everything. You need to know who your avatar client
Yep, exactly.
They're completely different in age or ethnicity or whatever. Like, there's a subconscious disconnect, and they want to feel like, oh, people like me are doing
Yep.
this, right?
Well, and that's the thing. I don't think it's a coincidence that I have a lot of African American women who live in Baltimore, Washington, D.C., New York City, Virginia, that responded to my ads because the color of my skin, right? That does matter, right? They need to be able to feel like, oh, I can relate, or I can trust this person, and so that's why you're showing them themselves in the actual ads, right? So next, then you have the offer. So you demonstrate what the end result the customer will experience by working with you, which you merge that with your testimonial, so they'll know like, oh, he's growing businesses. So and for me, my target audience is actually not big, huge businesses. My target audience is $5 million a year in revenue and below. So therefore, all of my marketing and my strategy is to attract that person, not the bigger business. I will actually maybe be unattractive to the bigger business, but I'm making that choice because I'm focusing in on a specific demographic. Okay, so I'm choosing to do that.
What do you do if you help them get over 5 million? So let's say somebody comes to you and you're like, okay, they're below that, and now they're doing 10.
Yes, they usually bring it in-house. So I had that happen a couple times during COVID where we had a lady that was only doing $15,000 a month on her Shopify store. We got her all the way up to $400,000 a month, and then I got fired essentially. She brought it in-house. So I fired myself.
Out of a job.
Yeah, correct.
That's okay, right?
But that's fine because eventually I don't want to work that much on one account and just be their account manager, right? And so that's essentially what happened. So the ad hook, identify the audiences and call them out within the first 5 seconds. So if you're going to use video for your advertising, you have to do it. You have to call the audience out before 5 seconds. Instantly.
That means like attention, and then whatever it is
Yep.
they are, right?
Yep. And the more specific, the better. So I also have ads that are like, attention Utah business owners, attention Idaho business owners, attention Montana business owners. And you make all these variations to increase the click-through rate so that you get a higher response. Because in marketing, the more personalized the ad feels to the person viewing it, the better, the higher the response rate. So if you get too broad and say, attention anyone who wants to maybe start a business or try to take a business from $5 million to $100 million, or, co-partner with someone else, that's not going to be very effective because it's too much, right? So your goal is to focus and narrow down who that audience is and then obsess about just talking about them, and don't have the scarcity mindset, which is thinking, if I only talk to this group, I'm going to be losing all these other people. It's actually the opposite. The more narrow you are, the more you'll attract those people anyways, okay? If you don't do that, your marketing won't work. Okay, the next is proof. Who have you already had success with? So I highly recommend you take one full day of a work day and write out all of these successes that you have had with other customers, and then reach out to them and ask them, hey, do you mind either sending me something written, something in video, something, both? Can you tell me what your experience was? And you gather all that information so you can plug it into your marketing. Because testimonials and social proof is a very big part of conversion. And one thing that I noticed when, once again, Bradford, you know this, when people come to you and they say, hey, can you create an ad and increase conversions for me? And you go, okay, sure. Well, you're assuming that the market knows who you are, that they can believe you, that you've had any success with anyone else, and that they should expect the same success. But it doesn't matter, just because it's your business doesn't mean that the other person feels the same way you do, right? So you have to go through the steps of showing them all of the things that you have done. Make sense? Which is why if you see an influencer or someone on TV that can put out any product and it sells out, it's because of all those years of building trust in the marketplace. That's why it converts, not the other way around. You can't force yourself to that. And then next, visuals. Make sure you show numbers of what they can expect or the end result. Most business owners don't. If I ask you, what do you provide? What does the customer get? It usually stumps them, even though they're in the business. What is the end result? What should I expect to get by giving you my money?
Outcome.
Yep. What is the outcome? Right? What is it? Testimonials, make sure you have your best customers talk about what you've done with them and ask them in depth and give them examples of what other people have done so they know what format to do it in. And then essentially it's worth the chasing down investment of getting the customer to do it so that you can get the testimonial. Yes?
Did you go and have somebody film that, or do you want them to film themselves doing this?
So I typically just have them do selfie style. And I just gave them, like the ones that you saw there, I just gave them instructions. Do it just like this.
Hayden actually called me Monday.
Yeah.
He slacked me. He said, "Hey, I'm fine." Okay.
Okay.
He said, "Hey, can you jump on a call?" And so I was like, "Sure." We got on a call. He's like, "Can you record a testimonial?" I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." He's like, "Okay, go."
Yep. Yeah. That's perfect.
That makes them raw. That makes them real.
Exactly.
I wanted it to be authentic.
Yep.
It doesn't look, it looks like, so that way it's more real and authentic.
Yep.
Right? It's more, the more raw, the better.
Which is why
it looks staged.
I told those people, I took a selfie, I gave them an example, and I've reversed it. Coral's the greatest person I've ever seen, blah, 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 and then I just said, say it in your words, whatever comes to your mind. And then they do it. Yeah? Say exactly like this. Yep. So the offer, so demonstrate what the end result they should expect, right? So you have to actually demonstrate it. You can do this visually as well. So like with clients, when I look at their websites or do some research on like, oh, I don't know why I'm not getting any conversions. Usually, and I'm thinking of one yesterday that I did. Usually, if you go on their website, you will see that I will ask them the question back, and you always have to like kind of tap dance. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but you say, would you buy this? Does this sell you? Would you pay this amount of money for this right now? Would you pay me that much? Usually the answer is like, well, no, not really. So then why would someone else pay that? Right? Why would someone else pay for this if you won't pay for it? And you make them answer the question, and you get them to go back and fix it. And the key to that is when you have like your direct calls to action, right? You have to basically say like, they show up to the website, you have to think all encompassing every single thing your target customer may want. Okay? For example, if you're selling, I'll use my business for example. I market myself in a very specific way. So, I'm a dad, I like sports, I'm relatable, I like people, right? And I put myself out there and I'm pretty much just an open book, right? And that will attract the business owner that's doing less than $5 million. That's my actual strategy, okay? With that strategy, what I also do is, and many people tell you, well, why would you do this? And it's because it works. I put pictures of me living in this way, right? So regular people stuff, golfing, with the fam, at Lagoon, at this and that, so that people can understand who I am. Because all the internet is, which everyone forgets, it's still people looking at a screen, right? So human psychology is exactly the same. So your goal should be, if you're relationship marketing, what do you talk to other people about? Right? You say, well, how you been? My kids are doing this. You show me the bottle in the toilet, and and we connect, we relate, right? Well, why wouldn't you just do that online? Because it's human beings anyways looking at it. So you're literally developing a relationship. And one thing that I do notice that happens when I run into people, and they see me online, is they'll usually tell me what I've been doing. Right? Hey, I saw that you did this. I saw you did that. I saw that this is happening. And that's exactly what you want to see, so that they can relate with you. So it kind of speeds up the sales cycle. Okay? So here, when we talk about testing, so here, this is 40 different ad sets or audiences that we tested. On this particular campaign, we spent $50,000, and then you can see, like, we can figure out which audiences are doing the best, what's getting the best cost per result, In our case, our goal is to have, we're okay with a $35 cost per lead because the math works, because we know our numbers. And then what you do is you keep running tests until you find the ones that work, right? And then as we go, we stack from broad, feed only, Facebook, Instagram feed only, Kaysville, Farmington, Bountiful, Layton, Draper, Utah broad, Utah winningest audience is broad with different sets of ads. And each sets of ads, you have different messaging that tries to attract the right person. Then when they come in, if you're getting and collecting all of your data correctly, you would then feed it back into your system and it'll teach the algorithm more and more who to go after. And then that's when you can start to go broader and broader. And then that's where your messaging starts to matter. Because if you go broader, if your messaging isn't down tight, the targeting's not going to be where it needs to be. Any questions so far with what I'm showing you here? Nothing? We all got it? All right, and then here, testing 167 different ads in that campaign.
What's
And
the time frame?
this was, I believe, 3 months. I probably should have put that up
Are
there.
you launching these all at the same time, or what cadence do you?
Great question. So I typically look at the stats every 7 days. So I do not make changes in 3 days or 4 day increments because it keeps putting everything in relearning. Yes?
And from my experience, you only want to change one variable at a time, right?
Correct.
If you change two things.
Correct. Then you don't know what happened.
Which one got you the better or worse
Correct.
response or.
And at what point do you kind of call a test dead? Like, is there like a ratio from average cart value to cost per acquisition that you're like, okay, that's dead?
Yeah, so basically what you would do, and this is why we go back to analytics, knowing your numbers, right? So you would actually know what you're willing to pay for whatever action it is, and then you run the test, and if you spend, let's say your budget's $300-400 for that test, right? You would say, if I don't get at least 3 or 4 add to carts, or 3 to 4 purchases, or 3 to 4 this, I'm shutting it down, starting over. And then that's where you look at the link click-through rate to see, this is how you start to decipher why it's not working, right? So your click-through rate might be really low. That means your ad sucks, right?
So I was going to make a joke and answer your question, but to say, when you lose money, that's when.
Well, actually, my question is like, how long? Because
How long
for
you
example, I'm thinking about shutting off my ads today. Because
All of them?
yeah, well, I only have one ad created that's positive, but I'm trying to test more, so I'm trying to figure out at what point should I shut off the test, or like you said in the learning
How much
phase,
time to give it?
like,
How long has it been running?
so the waiting one's been running for like a month or so.
Okay.
The new test ones are like 4 or 5 days.
How much have you spent?
It's about $20 per ad creative per day.
So 80, so you've done like $300 or so?
So like each day I'm spending probably 150 on the test, and it's been like 4 days and they're not looking great.
Turn it off.
Turn it
Yeah.
off.
4 days?
Don't wait like 7 days.
So typically, when I say I don't make changes after 7, I probably should back up. That's because I already have trained my algorithm on what to do. But if you're like in straight test mode, early stages, and the algorithm does not know what to do, and you spent $400 in 3 days, and you haven't got those metrics yet, pause it, look at your click-through rates, landing page, and figure out what's going on there.
Breakdown, right?
Something's broken there.
Yeah.
One of the other things too, is when we were at Google, one of the things we would notice is if you had a low daily budget spend, like 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, your ad may shut off by 10 in the morning. You may be already through your budget.
Yep.
So you're not getting a 24-hour cycle to get enough data to know when your
If you're setting no on that.
your
right?
ideal buyer is actually online looking to purchase your product.
But you got a setting that says it spends it throughout the day.
Mine
instead of
spends throughout
all
the
once,
day.
right?
So I'm like monitoring it.
Well, and some app like Facebook takes at least a good week to even learn who, right?
Yep.
It takes a while for that system to learn.
And keep in mind, so when I say you can turn off, everything you spent is not wasted because all that data is being fed back in. So you're not technically starting from zero every time. You're just testing a new campaign to see if you can speed up your results on that particular campaign. But
Are you using smart campaigns?
we don't use smart campaigns. But to kind of go back to your point of Google does tend to spend your money faster throughout the day versus Facebook. It's more algorithmic.
So the algorithm can learn you.
Right, it
That's
does.
us
You
too.
have to spend a certain amount of money for it to
It's
learn.
not even worth it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to have 1,000. You have to have 1,000 click-through rate just for the algorithm to even turn on.
Even learn what it is that
Exactly.
your people, right?
Yep, on
So
the
you
back
have to
end.
be willing to spend
Yeah.
a certain amount of money for a certain amount of time to even give it a chance, right?
Google's more for is more dialed in for bigger budget, for big scale.
You're not spending 165 a day. You told people not even to run it. You're better off running one campaign at 165 a day than you are 5 at $50.
Yep.
And Facebook's more around, you spend at least, what, 30, 40 a day?
Yeah, you typically, you want to get 50 conversion events per week, whatever that event is, whatever you're optimizing for, and then however much that tends to cost, right? So that's where you have to know your numbers and kind of know what your actual daily budget should be. Typically, people are just spending too little.
Yeah.
That's typically the problem.
Well, yeah, it's your audience targeting, but it's your phrase match, and then it's also your keyword selection.
Yep.
Because if you're using, broad match, large keywords like football versus 49ers,
Yeah.
you're going to get a ton of unwasted traffic versus exact match versus broad match.
Yep.
There's a correlation you got to fine tune there to make sure your keyword planner is going to play a key role.
Plus having the negative keywords in it.
Yeah, we're going the negative to make sure it's kicking out specific ones.
So with that being said, here's just another test where we did. So this is for my own company. So I purposely picked this photo with this guy golfing because I know a lot of business owners like golfing, especially in Utah and the time of the year that I ran it. And it also it's a scroll stopper, meaning it doesn't necessarily look like you're supposed to have an ad like that, right? So my goal is to make the ad kind of look like why is this ad like this, right? So it doesn't look traditional, right? So it stops the scroll. But this one had a cost per lead of $28.80, which was fine. But then I utilized my assistant, and she died. She knew that I had this picture of here. Chelsea, I gave her a script to say right here at the top. You can see Facebook ads used to be really easy, but they aren't anymore. So that's the ad hook that we use that's very effective because we know it's going to attract the person that has run Facebook ads and is currently frustrated with all the changes and they don't know how to fix it, right? And so that's why we went here, and then I dropped the cost per lead to $10.52, which then we were able to start scaling that up, right?
She's cuter than you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. She's also, yep, and with the strategy behind this is we utilize Chelsea in our ads when we want to get women business owners, and we utilize me or any of my other male members on the team for attracting the male business owner. So there's a strategy behind that too.
But both of them look like a photo that would be on their wall anyways.
Correct.
It's not even an ad.
Correct.
It's kind of the hook. Right?
Yep, exactly.
That's one of the things I've talked to you about. There's a woman I've worked with that's just brilliant at Facebook advertising, and her ads that she runs for people do not look like an ad.
Yep.
They are an image that stops you and go, whoa, what is that? And it just stops you, and then the rest of it gets you to click,
Yep.
and then before you know it, you're already into the funnel.
Because the first,
like an ad.
well, the first goal is you're trying to get micro conversions throughout the whole process. Everyone tries to jump to pay me money. But your first job is to get them to say yes for something small, which is to stop their thumb. That's the first yes. Then the second yes is to click read more. Then the third yes is to click learn more. Then the fourth is to actually land on the landing page. And the fifth, so these are all micro yeses, right?
Well, click-through rate, and then you get them in your remarketing campaigns, then you're doing it on 7 times in 10 days, or
Yep.
whatever scale you set it at.
Yep.
That's where you're ultimately going to get those conversions.
Exactly. And so here, these are 35 different ad tests that we've run. I've figured out that with the headline, and you can't really see it here, well, you might be able to see it in the next one, but my clients generate millions using these strategies. That's one that has been a great scroll stopper. That one's gotten us $100 spent, $5,500 back. A carousel ad, so we ran this one over by near July, so 4th of July. And I'll have the graphic designer make pretty much what I'll say silly pictures to stop the scroll. And in this one, we're, the American flag's behind us with 3 heads, like we're like Mount Rushmore.
So a carousel ad is one that shifts
Yep.
images, right?
Yep, so you'll have one image, then a second, then a third, then a fourth. What we found is you can increase your click-through rate with that, which is good for Facebook to see so that they feed your ads more. And then this one is your marketing broken. It's a picture of a broken phone with my face in it. And these are all retargeting ads, by the way. So these are after someone has seen a video, clicked on an ad, been to my landing page. So they're already familiar, which is why I can get away with that. So if it was cold traffic and I use some of that, it might not work as well. This is to make them more familiar with who we are, to speed up that build trust gap.
I should probably ask you this one-on-one, but when you're creative testing, you put one creative per ad set, or do you do multiple creatives in an ad set?
I do multiple, and then there's another technique that I could use, which is like the surround sound effect, which is you can do dollar-a-day campaigns, duplicate the audience over and over again, but just have one ad to make sure that that audience sees all of the ads versus letting Facebook only feed it to one or two. Okay? All right, so this one, my clients sell millions using these strategies. And then in the video, it talks about text message, email, you need to run your ads, blah, blah, blah. And then the next one here is your marketing broken? And then we're going to get to this. So this ad copy here was actually designed in a very specific way using ChatGPT, which is how you make all this work. So, all right, so the messaging is everything. So this is kind of what I wanted to, really get to. All right, so this link here, a member of my team created, I don't even know the name of it, a plugin or something, but it's a tool, and it's called the $1 Million Ad Creator, okay? And what he did was he fed a bunch of data from the world's best marketers, all their PDFs, all of their videos, all of their landing pages, and he fed all that data into it and taught this plugin to speak just like it. Okay? And you can do that for your industry.
Example, who are some of these greatest marketers?
Well, Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham, Russell Brunson, Dean Graziosi, Brendan Bouchard, and we, Frank Kern, and we.
I'd like to have all that into one, right?
Yeah,
That's powerful.
and you can do that for your own specific industry. So if there's industry leaders that you want to mimic, you can funnel all that information into it. And so.
It's a plug-in that you plug into chat.
Yes.
GPT, right?
Yeah.
If you don't do that, it can't hold it. I tried to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, so you have to use, it's called the $1 Million Ad Creator, and like I said, a member of my team built it, so I don't even know how to build it. He just built it and we use it. And so with this is how you create your messaging, which to me, in my opinion, is the most important part. It starts with research, so you got to research your competition, research, even if it's, I don't even know the correct word, but not even your direct competition. Like let's say you sell sneakers and you're looking at another sneaker shop. You also have to think your competition can be a t-shirt shop. It can also be someone else that's going after your customers' money. Affinity, that's what it is. And you got to figure out what they're doing, why it's working, what their strategy is, and then you need to create a strategy that goes against their, usually pinpointed towards their weakness. So something that I've used in the past in the fitness space is you find what the weakness is of your competitor, and then you make that your strength, and then that's the gap, and then there's your niche. And then you just focus just on that niche, and you don't deviate. And what you'll be able to do is have higher conversion rates, lower cost per acquisition, and that audience will be starving to death because no one's serving them. And that's pretty much what you want, is a starving audience. The next is you need to understand the buyer. Not like my buyer's 30 to 45 years old, or they're male. You need to understand everything. You've got their fears, their aspirations, and you've got all that, but then you also got to know, what are their thoughts? What do they say? How do they speak? Right? What are they watching? You want to have an in-depth understanding of who the buyer is. Then, the sin that everyone does is this: focusing your message. They don't focus. So they try to be too broad. And the difference between focus and broad is when you're very, very focused, the person who sees your stuff will respond, and they'll just feel like, man, we just clicked for some reason. I don't know what it is about you and your company, but we just seem to click. That's exactly how you want your audience to feel. And you're not going to get there unless you have focused messaging. It needs to be dialed in. So this stuff takes time, which is why no one has this dialed in, is because they don't want to take the time to do it. They want to hurry up and start acting. And then Mike talked about this, but really it's 90-10, emotion to logic. All of your stuff should be hitting on the emotional side of the buyer. People don't buy off of logic, they buy off emotion. They also make their best and worst decisions off emotion, which you do want to know that, because if you want someone to act, especially a stranger who doesn't know who you are, you got to get them emotional quickly, or you won't get conversion. Any questions there?
Give an example.
Yeah, so for example, like I use fitness because it's the easiest for everyone to understand, right? So if you're selling to, let's say your target audience is 35 to 45-year-old women, right? When you're talking to them, you need to demonstrate like some of their concerns, and I know these because I used to sell to this audience in fitness. Some of their concerns are, I do not want to be in a bathing suit because I'm embarrassed. Or my husband no longer finds me attractive because I put on some weight. I cannot go on a hike with my daughter because I'm overweight. And the feelings that they're feeling are embarrassment, shame, guilt, like they've let somebody down, right? So your messaging should talk all about that, right? Are you feeling embarrassed, ashamed, guilt? But you do want to actually feel like you can fit in that bathing suit confidently and, you know, look better in your clothes, have your husband find you more attractive. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to emotion. And you can also do that by using images on your website. Correct.
We used to describe it as people either buy pain pills or vitamins. The more people spend money on a pain pill to alleviate, rather than something that's going to enhance and make them better.
Yep.
So you got to think of it as, I got to find it, I got to be a pain pill.
Yeah. Yep. And I like how you said that, because that's essentially what it is, right? There's not very many people that are interested in preventative care, but there are a lot of people who are interested in taking medicine, right?
It's like
It's easier.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. We've got this with Brian. You know, people buying homes. Sometimes you think, no, that's just all a positive thing. No, they're actually buying them.
Yeah.
They've got a pain point in their current neighborhood or something else. And I've said before, people are usually buying themselves out of something rather than into something.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I could think, you know, just as a personal experience when you're talking about buying homes. You know, we built our house over in Layton. Previous to that, I really had no desire to buy a home because I'm like a pretty simple guy. But the pain point I was feeling was my mother-in-law was really getting on my case about building this house for my wife. And so guess what? We built the house, right? And I'm happy that we did it. But that was the main driver of like why push forward quicker, right? And so there's a lot of truth in we're making decisions off pain a lot of times.
And that's why when you're pitching, so to speak, this program for a woman to go through a training, right, or work with you as a trainer, you're talking about this outcome she wants. But if you start talking about the modalities and your process you're going to take her through, she's going to be like, I'm not doing that.
And she's not interested.
Painful, right? But if you talk about what you do instead of what it does, that's where I see a lot of business people make the mistake is they're talking about what they do instead of what their product or service does.
Exactly.
What does is the outcome, right? That's the picture you're painting. Is the thinner, you know, getting in the pool, feeling comfortable and confident and whatever, like all the stuff you're talking about.
Well, and here's the other thing, like if you use the strategy of thinking of the pain points that they have and you think about the weaknesses of your competitors. So like my agency's built more off of relationship. And the reason for that is because I know most experiences with other marketing agencies are I can never get a hold of them. No one ever tells me anything. Or they tell me the wrong information. And so I'm gathering all that data as I listen to new customers say this. I'm leaving this agency because of this. And then building that into my business. And then guess what my marketing message becomes? We're always available. If you need someone to work with you, we're here.
But yeah, getting back to that, it's like you have to create the deficit.
And
then fill your product into the solution rather than this is how I can benefit your business right off the bat because that's the buyer. Right? You have to dig the hole and then you have to fill the hole.
Yeah, we call it, or I've always called it the monkey on the back. How heavy is the monkey on the back? And if you can help them feel the weight of the monkey and then offer a solution, you can offer that again. I just wanted to mention one thing real quick.
This should be the catch box on this.
For me, having been in, this is my space too, right? Marketing. I always use the phrase, sell the marketing
Yep.
And so that's one of the reasons, and you see this in a lot of places, that people will have a low entry point item
Yep.
with upsells.
Yep.
Because if you can get the logic to buy at 49, then you can get the emotion.
Yep.
The credit card's already on file. So I often sell things for $7, and I do events and cruises and things where it's like, you get there, your credit card's already on file.
Yep.
All you have to do is hit the emotion.
And it's an easier sale. No, I like that. Those using the tripwires of basically once they're able to purchase that first thing, it's a lot easier. And so, no, that's a great point, and that's why you go into that emotion part. So, here's a way I like to use Google Keyword Planner to research, just like your competition or your competitors. So, like what I like to do here, so I used MikeBurnett.com because I'm going to show you how I use that. But you plug it in and you say, look at this website and then tell me the keywords that it most likely is ranking for, and then what is the average monthly searches, and then you can see the 3-month change in demand. And then this right here, the competition will show you if the cost per clicks or whatever are high or low and how many people are bidding on it. Now, I like to use this because this gives me ideas of what the competition is ranking for, right? So if you plug in your competitor's website, you can see what they're ranking for. You can plug in your website, see what you're ranking for, and then start to see where can I fill a gap against my competition, right? So I like to use this tool to go ahead and figure that out. This is also a great tool if you're going to do Google search campaigns and stuff like that as well. So then you type in those keywords, and if, let's say, you don't really know who your competition is, whatever, for Mike's case, I typed in high ticket sales for our website, and then you can see, like, here's one, Dan Locke. That's his.
And by the way, I don't have any ads running right now.
Yeah.
That's going to look, my numbers will look bad just because right now that site has not been something I'm currently.
Oh yeah, and those.
It was before.
Well, and those aren't even like ad numbers. That's just like what you're ranking, what in general the U.S. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So and then here, this is just to figure out the competition. I used not Mike Burnett. I just typed in high ticket sales because that's a high volume word. And then this is what came up. So then what I would do is if you repeat this process over and over again, you would copy this link, repaste it back in, look at their keywords, figure out what they're doing, look up for the next. And this is how you can figure out who your competitors are for the keywords that you want to rank for, right? Then, in this case, this is where we go into the ChatGPT, and this is how you can use it to make your messaging. So with Mike, I took his link and I said, can you tell me in detail who this is targeting, what trigger phrases, blah, blah, blah. I took this, and then you say this website asks about high ticket sales, and it starts to show you what those are, right? And then this is where you can do the research. Then you plug this in, and here's a prompt that you want to give it. So when it comes to AI and algorithms and all that, it's only as smart as what you give it. Just like an employee. If you tell an employee to go start working, it's going to just do whatever it thinks it's going to do. But if you tell it what to work on, it will do it, right? So here, can you create an ad that creates a strong, intense, this is the key, by the way. That creates a strong and intense emotional response. So that's going into the 90-10, sell with emotion.
You're telling chat
yes.
to give you a strong, intense, emotional
Yep.
response. If
Yep.
you didn't use those words, it's going to give you something.
It's going to give you something totally different. Then the next thing that's extremely important is this. To the viewer of this ad, that makes them feel like we are speaking directly to them and only them. That they feel like we have read their mind. Okay? Now, to put this in there, you have to obviously have knowledge of your industry, right? Like knowing marketing. I know good marketing has to have these elements. So then I'm telling ChatGPT, this is what you need to do. The language you will use will be from the world-class copywriters, such as Dan Kennedy or Jay Abraham. Okay, then I'm telling it who I want you to mimic, the style that I want, okay? Then I say, use this link as a reference. This is a sales letter from Dan Kennedy, so that now I'm also showing it, just in case you can't figure it out, go to this link and check this out. All right, the product I'm selling is someone who may be interested in buying a new car, but their main objection is they don't want to overspend on that car. But their main emotional hot button is they would like to look as cool as possible to their friends. So this is what I told ChatGPT to write. And I gave it the hot buttons, right? Doesn't want to overspend, wants to look cool in front of their friends. And then I'll show you what the ad came out. Okay, so this is what ChatGPT says. It's verifying it understands me. To craft an ad that elicits a strong and intense emotional response, blah, blah, what I just gave it. So here's the headline: Unlock the secret to turning heads without emptying your wallet. Drive the car of your dreams today. Subheadline: Discover how you can make your friends green with envy without falling into financial trap most car buyers can't escape from. So ChatGPT created that on its own, and that sounds exactly like Dan Kennedy or Jay Abraham, a headline that they would make. And if you study them enough, you would know that's exactly how they talk, right?
In 3 seconds.
In 3 seconds, right? And so I have these prompts saved, so then you just copy and paste it. So then it becomes 1 second that you have to do it.
It's part of our membership access to all these prompts.
So, and here's the sales letter. See, then this is how I know, because I've studied Dan Kennedy. Dear savvy car buyer, in a world where the car you drive speaks volumes about who you are, you find yourself at a crossroads. You yearn to slide into the driver's seat of a car that not only turns heads, but also ignites a sense of deep pride within you. Yet, the thought of overspending, of compromising your financial stability for a fleeting moment of admiration, casts a shadow over your dream. You're not alone. Imagine a reality where you can drive a car that makes your pulse race with excitement. A car that draws admiring glances and nods of approval from your friends and even strangers. A reality where you can enjoy the thrill of luxury and admiration of your peers without the nagging fear of financial imprudence hanging over your head. We're here to tell you this isn't a dream, it's your new reality waiting to unfold. Now you could see, me understanding copywriting knows that's a very strong message right there. And that's going to resonate. That will never happen on regular ChatGPT or just saying, write an ad for this, right? So the key is the inputs have to be very, very specific. So what does that mean? That means you need to know the hot buttons, what the messaging should be, what this person actually wants to achieve, what the end result is, which is why research is key in order to make ChatGPT work. Okay, so, and then it goes into this, right? And it gives me a bunch of different. Okay, what you need to know in order for this to work: emotional trigger, their real objection, and a link to a reference point. And then, of course, Mike will laugh at this, but you need the $1 Million Ad Creator as well. All right.
That plugin, what does that cost?
For you, it's free. No, no. So actually, you could actually get it on the ChatGPT plugin store. I can get it from AJ.
And so you can load. I was trying to look it up, but I can't find it.
I'll get the direct link because I couldn't find it too neither a couple days ago when I was trying to relaunch it, and AJ sent me the link. So I'll get you the link.
You can load, right? Tons.
Yeah.
I mean, volumes and volumes of content.
Oh, unlimited. Unlimited.
And just keep tweaking
Yep.
the wording, but using these
Yep.
geniuses that have been around forever, using all their knowledge
Yep.
for chat to create something for you. That is, to me,
So
is gold. I mean,
okay.
That's amazing.
So now we go right into Mike's. Okay, so I'm using Mike's website as an example, just so you can see how accurate this could be, right? So MikeBurnett.com, these are 3 YouTube videos that I took from his YouTube channel talking about high ticket sales, okay? And then what I did was, let me move it over. Okay, this is the end ad that came out, and I thought it was funny because I sent it to Mike, but it sounds like Mike. So Mike typically starts his videos with "Hello, my friend," and ChatGPT figured that out, right?
Not even all of them,
some, but
I picked up that, yeah.
Let's dive into some that could dramatically shift your trajectory and imagine for a moment where you want your business to be a year from now. Perhaps like many ambitious entrepreneurs I speak to, you're aiming to lead from 200 to 1 million. And there was a specific prompt that I gave to this to actually say this part. It's a bold goal, but entirely within your reach. And then if you go through the rest of this, it actually sounds just like Mike.
Okay, so back up a minute, Greg.
Yeah.
So are you saying you took my videos?
Oh, I'm going to actually show you the process.
Okay,
I'm going to show you the
sorry.
process.
I was like,
No, you're good.
Something really important here.
Okay, so this part, I wanted to show that first, so then I can show you how I got there. So here in the $1 Million Ad Creator, I'm talking to like an individual. If I give you specific links to a website, would you be able to see the speaking style and language and then start to create marketing materials that sound similar to that? So I'm talking to it like trying to get permission, right? Yes, I can use the browser tool, blah, 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 and it looks it up. Then I said, perfect, here are the links. And I took all the links from his website individually so I could research it on the back end. And then it tells me the style. It's a professional motivational channel. So this, usually when you get the response back from ChatGPT, it's telling you how it's thinking so you can correct the thinking. So if this was saying, yeah, this is very negative and he doesn't care about anything, you would write back, no, that's actually not true. Please relook at it. Right? So you would.
So when you say links, are you talking about just the text that's on my site, or are you talking about it's actually going?
The actual URL. I'm taking the URL.
What about the video?
Oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
3.5 will not do that. It's 4.0 or higher. You have to be a paid
Yeah.
member for that to happen.
And I forgot to mention that, yes.
And on the free one, it does not say anything. It has to be a paid member.
So to keep training, it, then I keep adding more information. Here's another post to LinkedIn from Mike, and I took the LinkedIn URL and plugged it in so it could see the language that he's using. And then I created, here's another ad, and it comes up with this. And then what I'm doing is, one part that I left out because I thought it'd be a little tedious. So what I did is you use a plugin, it's called Captions plugin inside of ChatGPT. What you do is you get the YouTube video link, and you can use anyone's link, by the way. So if you don't know what to say, use your competitor's YouTube link and then reformat it, and I'll show you how. So you take that link, you plug it in, and it'll transcribe it under ChatGPT 4. It'll transcribe the video. Then what you'll do is you'll copy that text and then plug it into your other chat in the $1 Million Ad Creator saying, this is how Mike speaks. So here's more information for it. And I say, here's another transcription of the video. Here's more information. And you keep feeding it more information so that it knows what to do next. Okay? Then once it does that, that's how it creates the ad scripts that you want. Okay? So it's going to pull all that information, learn from it, and then start creating. Then you can just save that chat, and it'll learn from everything above it. Does that make sense? So like everything you've already taught it, if you show up like next week and go back in, it's still learning from that chat. Yep.
Keep it in the same string, right?
Yep.
Just like a text string.
Yep. And so from there, this is essentially how you create it. So here's what you can do now if you would like to go ahead and, if you like to go ahead and use this is, if you don't know what your marketing messaging could be, but you know someone else who you feel like has it dialed in, go pull all of their YouTube clips and follow the prompts that I showed with the $1 Million Ad Creator. Have it do exactly what I did for Mike, and then you create your own videos. They don't have to be public, just make them unlisted, and say exactly what ChatGPT says the ad should be like in your own words, transcribe them, and then bring them back in, and then it'll write it in your style. And now their ads can be yours.
Have you played with HeyGen at all?
I've heard of HeyGen, but that's...
You can take an image of you for like your video.
That's what we were talking about.
You as
the
the
HeyGen.
avatar, and you upload your voice with 11 labs.
I've seen it.
And it'll, we've done a couple of those.
You showed us that, your LinkedIn post, right?
Does it look normal?
Oh, it looks.
Yeah, it does.
Which one is
It does.
Dig up his LinkedIn post. A guy they're talking in English, he's talking, and then he's like Russian. And then he's talking, and you look at his lips.
Yeah.
And it's his voice.
It works,
And it does not
Jenny.
look anything
It works.
fake. It looks
It
as
works.
real as anything
I
else.
know, Greg,
It
that's
works.
what you do.
It works.
Like me recording myself.
Yeah.
What's the plugin you have?
It's called HeyGen, and then 11 labs.
How do you spell it again? HeyGen?
HeyGen.
G-N, okay, that's right.
So you can upload one of your videos, and it'll pick up all your mannerisms, or you can do a short 10-second record, and then I have a bunch of myself voice, like I do my positive affirmations. So instead of me saying it to myself, I listen to it while I run, but it's my own voice, but I just upload it in, hit submit, it takes about 30 seconds, you can do 5,000 words at a time. So
that is brilliant.
So you can take that and then feed it into that,
yeah.
and there you go. There you got your video.
I did some consulting for Turo and made a bunch of videos for them. You can pick an avatar, whoever you want, and enter the words, hit submit, it'll create a video, it takes about 3 minutes.
Yeah, so this post that Charles did, that Jen, I was
It's
telling you
crazy.
about, this
All
guy
this
does it
stuff.
like in 3 different, like 4 or 5 different languages, and you watch his lips, and you would think, he's speaking that language. Like, it does not look fake. It looks as real as anything else. It's his same voice. And you should think about the implication, like how can you apply that? Like you could save yourself a ton of, if you're making a lot of videos for people or doing whatever, you make one video, right?
Yeah, HeyGen is $60 for 200 minutes per month. $59 for 200
Which is pretty reasonable.
A 4K quality video.
Yeah, that's what Frank Kern is doing. Well, Mike, so I know I got, I think 13 minutes, and basically what I wanted to workshop, however long it, you lot is, if everyone could pull out their phone, just take a pic. I don't have worksheets. If they can just take a picture of these questions, and then get together in your groups in the next room and come up with the answers to this, and maybe discuss amongst each other.
Yes.
Because in order for any of this ChatGPT stuff, if you haven't picked up on it yet, is you have to know what to tell it, which means you still have to be intelligent about what you're doing. It can't do that part for you. Yeah, maybe. It probably will eventually.
I just think about in a competition sense, like you can grab all your best competitors, like people you
Yep.
see out there killing it.
Yep.
Take all their information, put it in
Yep.
there, take your information, put it in there, and say, rewrite it in my own
Next time you and I get together, I'll show you. We'll pick the demand guys. I can't remember their names now, but yeah.
Their weakness too.
Exactly. You can find out their weaknesses and go, I would like to fill this gap right here. So
Another one too that I use is called in-video AI. And you can take a website, and if you want them to do like a 2 to 3 minute video explaining what the company does, it'll make a video and use like avatar actors, and they're like handing things out, and high-fiving or whatever your verbiage is, it'll do it all for you and make a video. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes. But I've got a bunch of those too in here too. In-video AI. In video AI. And it's downloaded directly on your phone, you can get a computer.
So incredible.
So Mike, if you want everyone to just go back and then
Look at the back of your colors. Oh, inside. Inside of your thing, you'll see a color. Use that color as the color not back there. The second part has to be there. So go find the color that you're at on your inside of your thing and get together for the next 15, 20 minutes and brainstorm this with each other.
Are you yellow?
No, I'm green.
I'm yellow. Who's yellow?
Feels good, dude.
was it good?
Okay, so how do we use this $1 million magical thing
Yeah. Text me.
of genius? I don't know.
Shoot me a text and I'll get the link from AJ.
All right.
Because
I
don't.
You text it and it just like magically installs and happens, right?
So what you're saying is AJ is working in his zone of genius.
Exactly.
And he's your guy doing this stuff.
Exactly.
And you're just...
And my zone of genius is talking.
Perfect. That's a good business.
It is. I wish that was my zone of genius. That's my zone of incompetence.
But you're moving.
Yeah, I'm trending in the right direction. So any questions or anything that comes up from what we talked about today? Or are we all AI experts and we've got our messaging dialed in?
So this isn't a question directly associated. I'm right in the middle of setting up my own marketing automations and things like that. And I'm trying to decide on like the CRM or central like software that I'm using. And I'm kind of in between HubSpot and then Go High Level. And I was just wondering from
I love Go High Level. We use Go High Level.
Is that what you?
That's what.
We need to.
Yeah, I like Go High Level. It's good.
It's cheaper too, and you can spin up.
It's better. It's just better.
Yeah, I'm like right in the stage of about to make the decision on one or the other. And
We got 3 people right here. Go
You'll
High
end
Level.
up leaving HubSpot and going to GHL.
it's so funny. I believe you, and I've heard the exact opposite from people that have used HubSpot. Yeah, that have said like I just left Go High Level and I love HubSpot, and that's why I wanted to ask because I am like right in this like trying to decide of the best way to have all my dashboards, have all my ratios, figure out my CAC, all that stuff. And
Bradford, do you have any feedback on that? CRM?
I don't use CRMs very often.
Got it, okay.
Surprisingly.
yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
But I
That was a raging endorsement. So you love
Jill, what's our...
It's whatever.
I mean, I think just figure out exactly what is the most important for you, right? And usually it's like if you're going to be, so it depends too. If you're going to be managing it, then how technical are you? If you're not super technical, then pick one that's less technical.
Yeah. So I'm partnered with Go High Level with you all because.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
So now you got 4 people here saying Go High Level, and you heard HubSpot. It's whatever.
Yeah, Jill.
This isn't recording, right?
Go High Level account because my brothers from an agency, just all their people that purchase their course get a free Go High Level account, and I can hook you up with one.
So am I hearing high level is much better than HubSpot? Because we're in the
middle of a conversion to HubSpot.
And it's been
From where?
It's been a chore.
It's been a chore.
It has been a chore. We had a dinosaur system called ACT.
Oh, yeah, Go High Level.
Go High Level. Okay, let's.
They still say old school. Just keep it old school. Keep it old school. Yeah, that is.
Actually, my partner David, who's the sales guy on the team, he uses a Franklin Covey planner.
The paper version, the stone tablet.
Yeah, I like paper. I like paper.
Still buys them, huh? He's engraving the characters.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Anything else as far as what we discussed today, or?
So when you're doing your email, I mean, because I get this for like building your scripting, right? Are you doing yours? Like, are you running like your full sequence, sales cycle sequence through to then next after you have that is like, okay, now let's create an email 6 layers deep of like a retargeting strategy.
Yeah, we use.
Are you going that depth or like
No, because my personal strategy is more content based.
Okay.
So I'm just giving away free content to anyone that's on my retargeting list or email list, and quite frankly, just not thinking that hard through that, and it's been working, and that's just because that's kind of the style that I like.
If you're hitting a 5R ROAS, that's about as good as you're going to get without super high LTV anyways.
Yeah. So, but there's different strategies, right? Like, so we, of course, can use it for a client that's like, we want X, Y, and Z, and this way and that way. We're using it with clients, but if you're asking me, like personally, like in my business.
Well, the reason I ask is using Google Ads, right? You're getting 7 touch points in a remarketing strategy over 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's the metric. So what other emails would you be sending or targeting that person to try to move them down the funnel?
So the way I look at it is we build everything off of, I think of it from a sales mind, right?
Sure.
So I think, well, how come someone would click my ad but not take the action I want? And then I list out all their objections, and then I create content that overcome that objection to warm them up to then have a soft sale back to book a call with us.
Micro conversion.
Yep. So my thought is always that is once how come they didn't take the action I wanted, and then give them stuff to help them eventually take the action I want, but not do it in an overly aggressive way, but more of just like, well, here's a couple things that you might want to think about, or you know what I mean, just some content. That's just my personal style, but.
So I got a selfish question.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Charles?
Get more of this recorded.
I mean, it's related to marketing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of marketing guys in here. But it's my question I had last night.
Mm-hmm.
Should your landing page be attached to your normal main website, or should it be its own URL?
Mike has had this question too.
What are the
So
implications?
really, I think, in my experience, a landing page that is built straight on the website, for some reason, does not convert the same as an individual landing page that is separate. My theory is because usually if you have it on your website, there's other things that they can get lost on, and they'll click like, oh, about us, or then this, or then that. And then before you know it, the kids interrupted them, then they're gone. Now you got to hit them with a retargeting ad, spend more money to get them back in, versus a landing page, it's do this. Yes or no?
Well, let me follow up on that then. So on the landing page that we have right now, there's no pull down menus or anything.
It's a squeeze page.
It's just scroll down and da-da-da-da. And now at the bottom, they can click on my logo and go to my main web page. So is that okay the way it's set up, even though the URL isn't its own thing?
We'll test it.
Okay.
We'll test it. Because everything is always a test. So if we see we're not getting the conversions that we want, then we'll just make a separate landing page that's off your page send traffic there, and then see, is it because it's attached to your site, or is it because of the messaging, and then start. The heavy lifting starts after that.
So whether it's part of your URL with a slash and
Yep.
then or if it's its own URL, either way you want it to be a squeeze page where
Yeah.
there's nothing else for them to do.
Yep.
There's no other action they can take except to what? You're trying to enter you're trying to capture their information, right? Name, email, or what are you trying to do on the landing? What's the call of action on the landing page?
At the end, the call of action is a 15-minute
Yeah,
non-sales
that-
information.
Book a call.
So they're
or something
booking a
like that.
call. Okay, so that's the call to action.
Yeah.
But if they can do anything else, it takes them away.
Yep.
And that's what you're saying is if it's on your site, they're going to find a way to get to all the other stuff on your site, and before you know it, they're lost. They haven't
Well,
even, they're gone, right?
And logically, see, a lot of things are always like counterintuitive, right? Like logically, you would think it would be better to give them more information.
More information,
and get
right.
them to my website so
And
they
it's
can
not-
learn and read about it. But unfortunately, that's not how it works.
And I, it's like you and I were looking at the other day. I was looking at that webinar company who gave us. I mean, I was looking at the #1 converting landing page for a webinar,
always
and
simple.
they're about as simple
It's always
as I'm
simple.
like, this is it.
Yep.
It's their #1 converting because it's so simple. There's
Yep.
not much on it, and I'm like, that makes sense if you think about it. But it is
Plus,
sometimes.
how many things you're asking them to do also impacts conversion. So, like, if they're going to the landing
much.
page and you say, "Give me an email," they'll do it.
It's the only thing to do.
Give me
right?
name and email. The conversion rate will go down a little bit. Name, email, phone number.
Yeah, the
go
more
down a
you
little bit more.
ask, but the lead quality might go up.
But the lead quality would be better.
The more they'll give you,
Correct.
but you'll have less.
But
leads.
you got to have the balance, right? Like sometimes
Right.
if you have too many questions,
The whole reason why Amazon works with a one-click purchase, anything beyond 3 actions, you lose 50%.
Oh yeah.
50%?
Confused buyers and non-buyers.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. Confused
Yep.
mind says no, right? It's the,
So you
confuse
keep
them,
'em-
you lose them.
But you think twice and think, oh, maybe I can't afford that.
Yep.
Just do it right.
3 actions, it's 50%. Google tracked it.
Yeah, I already bought it. It's too late.
3 steps to the page, from purchase to confirmation, 50% fall off rate. That's why Amazon has the instant swipe right on the same page. When you
Well,
get to purchase.
and that
Totally.
goes back to what I talked about
Makes
earlier,
sense.
which is most businesses don't test enough. Like Amazon dominates because they're running A/B tests all day. If I have a one-click here, if I have suggested products below or above, which one did better? Let's move it here. 1 click versus 2 click versus 3 click versus if this ad says this, what happens here? So to get if you notice, even I showed you my ads. I'm not Amazon. Even I have 40 different ad set tests, 167 different ads. I'm testing a whole bunch of different things to then figure out. Then my landing page, simple. Does it need a video? Does it not need a video? Does it need me with a girl in it? Does it just need me? Does it need a girl on it? Like you're constantly testing to find what works. And so it's not, that's why sometimes when you hear from marketers like, yeah, I got, they've got the magic bullet, the secret. It's usually not. The way I view ourselves is we're glorified testers, right? You're paying us to do the stuff that either you don't know how to do or are unwilling to do, which is take the time to do the fundamentals of what you have to do to have successful marketing campaigns, not give you a magic bullet, magic hack or something like that.
And what's crazy is what I've learned in marketing is your headline.
It's everything.
Everything, because
Tell
that is
Charles.
what gets
Charles
them
just
to read.
asked that.
That's what gets them to read the next thing,
Yep.
and that's what gets them to read the next thing.
Yes.
And what's crazy is you can change one word in a headline, and
Yep.
your conversions can change.
Yep.
It's crazy what could happen from 1 or 2 words.
It sounds
I
unbelievable.
mean, it
but
sounds
it's-
crazy, but
it's true.
which is why what you're saying is testing is the key, right?
Yep.
It's tweaking, testing, and that's what the best marketers do. That's what the best companies
Yep.
do. That's why Amazon is
all the
so
ones
good at
that
what they
dominate,
do.
that's what they do all day.
The other side of what you're saying, as far as landing page experience relative to keywords, increases your cost per bid.
Mhm.
So if your landing page and the keyword uses that you're using don't match directly, you're gonna pay more for it's like let's
Quality
say
score.
Yeah, your quality score is gonna go down.
Yeah.
So let's say you wanted to steal his traffic, like as a competitor, like Nike
Oh.
versus Under Armour, to place in their same ad rank, because the quality score will go down, you're gonna pay 3 times more for that same keyword, just because of landing page experience. So you gotta make sure that whatever keywords you're using match your landing page, or you're automatically paying 2, 3, 4 times higher for that keyword than you would if you had that proper verbiage on it.
Although it can still be worth an ROI if you target competitors.
Yeah, I know.
And I've done, and some people look at it as that gray hat, but people do it all the time, where as
Yeah.
long as you're not trying to confuse the
Yeah,
market,
yeah.
because that's illegal, right? That's a
Yeah.
legal issue.
Yep.
But I see it all the time. We do it with our competitors, and it's some of our best ROI
Yep.
ever, because they're about ready to buy from this healthy vending
Yep.
company and spend $100,000,
And they go to
and they
yours.
Google their name and go, "Ooh, who's Healthy You?" And they look at, "Oh, and then what are these guys? Oh, something similar." And before we know it, we're talking to them, and
Yep.
those clicks are very expensive, but man, the ROI on that particular campaign is phenomenal. It's amazing.
But if you can go behind the scenes and put their business on your landing page, hidden,
Yeah.
it will bring your
Yeah, it
quality
will.
up and it'll take the cost down.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's right, you're right.
It's
The
a
more
little,
relevant.
it's a little black hat.
Doesn't
but you
Google
can
know
do
you're
it.
hiding it?
Well, absolutely.
What and the point that it's AC, right? The point that AC is making that a lot of
good
people
one.
don't think about too is when you run ads, your landing page, if you don't have high conversions or people aren't taking the actions that you're wanting them to take, these platforms will actually charge you more because they're not seeing positive signals. And so that's how you increase your cost of your advertising is you have people not converting. So it's a double whammy, which is why you should be heavily invested in and I just told Charles this, the heavy lifting, outside of once you know how to make ads, the heavy lifting is in the optimization of your landing page. 9 times out of 10, people struggle with conversions is because their landing page, something's broken. The offer's not working, it's not attractive enough, it's not selling the people well enough for them to take the action. That's where all the work is done, is on the landing page once you get the ads dialed in. So,
Google cares about experience, and they care about user experience, not the business.
Right.
You know, it's like you go to a restaurant, you have great service, you love the food, you're going back there again. If you keep going to Google and it's a bad experience, you're gonna go to a different platform to do your browsing, and that's what they do not want to lose those eyeballs.
So they'll penalize you for.
They'll derank your.
which is what we dealt with, Dustin.
Right.
With cancellation of accounts all the time. I'm at 0.
I think.
I'm at 0. I don't want
right.
to take up more time than you want me to.
Thanks,
so.
Greg.
Thank you.